What's happening, weirdos? This is Chris Martin from Coldplay. Ever heard of it? Huge. Big deal. Very excited. I did a stand-up show. Chris wanted to do a stand-up show. He asked Judd Apatow, the wonderful Judd Apatow, who's my friend, for some comedian names. I was one of those names. We did the show. I mentioned the podcast. Chris listened to the podcast, and as you're about to see, he's just that sort of person. He's inquisitive, he's curious, he's engaged, he's alive, he's very, very cool. And he listened to it. I was just like, there's no way he's going to listen to it. He's into things. He likes new things, and he likes this show, and he especially likes the ones with me and Val. So Val, which is our Friday episodes, for those of you who haven't listened to us before, Wednesday is me and a guest, and Friday is me and Val. And this is sort of a hybrid because it's me and Val and a guest, and that guest is Chris Martin. So I'm so excited. So thank you to Judd, who booked me on the show with Chris, which introduced us, and thank you to everybody on Chris's team that helped make it happen. We're talking about Mandy, Lauren, and Sheila. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, everybody on Chris's team. So excited that this is happening. And you're about to enjoy it. If you'd like to, and you're about to enjoy it. Thanks, Pete. I'm a professional podcast host. If you guys would like to support the show, we don't do traditional ads. We do what I call Pete's Picks. These are things I actually use and actually love. Chris actually makes fun of that a little bit in this episode. But it's true. These are things that I love, like Ned and Company. Ned is a wellness brand rooted in the belief that we can all feel better and live better through simple means and a deeper connection to the natural world. And Ned is a purveyor of great quality CBD. If you guys have listened to this show before, you know I'm a big believer in CBD. I call it my happy juice. It puts a little smile behind my face. It doesn't get you stoned. It doesn't take you out of the game. You can focus on it. You can read on it. You can work on it. It's just a wonderful way to help your nervous system relax a little bit. I find it to be mood elevating and stress reducing. It's a wonderful plant-based game changer without getting pharmaceuticals involved. It's something earth grown that I'm all about. And Ned is, like I said, the purveyor of great quality CBD, which means they work very closely with the farms that grow this hemp in Colorado. I almost said in CBD. It's third-party lab tested. They have relationships with these farmers. They're involved and observe and watch the cold extraction process. And it's not just like 150 acres of GMO corn and a little patch of hemp. These are farmers that are into it. They play music to the plants. They get the worm beds feeding into the soil. And what the result is incredibly clean tasting and wonderfully effective CBD. It's not even flavored. It just comes in a little dropper with a little bit of MCT oil. So it's a super clean taste. I often take it during the day and I often take it at night, which helps me relax and chill out before I go to sleep. And it's a wonderful, like I said, plant ally. And the best way to see if you like it is to give it a try. And you can do that and show your support of this podcast. So if you're interested, go to helloned.com/weird or enter weird at checkout, and you will get 15% off your first one-time purchase and 20% off your first subscription order. That's helloned.com/weird or enter weird at checkout for those savings and see if you like it. Another Pete's Pick and a big part of my daily routine is Ritual multivitamins. Ritual is a unbelievable multivitamin that not only makes me feel ready to start my day, but it's clean, it's vegan friendly, it's formulated with high quality nutrients in bioavailable forms your body can actually use, and that's because it has a delayed release. I know there's a belief that multivitamins don't work because you just pee them out, but Ritual does not break down in your body until it's in your lower intestine, which means two things. One, your body can actually absorb the nutrition and the vitamins inside of it, and two, it's okay to take if you intermittent fast or if you just want to take it on an empty stomach. If you've ever taken a multivitamin on an empty stomach, you know that's usually a bad idea, but the delayed release formula of the Ritual multivitamin makes it good for both of those reasons. Not to mention, we deserve to know what we're putting in our bodies and why, especially when it comes to something we take every day. And in Ritual, you'll find high quality, traceable nutrition, but you won't find sugar, GMOs, major allergens, synthetic fillers, or artificial colorants. Plus, it has a fresh, minty taste, which I actually really look forward to every morning. and as I mentioned, a delayed release capsule design. It's a wonderful way to get things into your body that you might have gaps. For me, for example, I don't eat meat. I eat very, very little dairy, which means I might be lacking in B12, which is hard to get in a vegan diet. Boom, B12 is in there. And not only is it in there, you'll always know what nutrients you're taking and where they come from, thanks to Ritual's one-of-a-kind visible supply chain. It's now available for women, men, and teens. Ritual multivitamins are scientifically developed to help support the different stages of life. And your multivitamins, I love this part, are delivered to your door every month with free shipping always. It's really easy to start, snooze, or cancel your subscription anytime. And if you don't love Ritual within your first month, they'll refund your first order. And if you'd like to, you can support the show by going to ritual.com/weird to get 10% off. That is the offer from Ritual for the weirdos. 10% off during your first 3 months. Go to ritual.com/weird to start your ritual today. Last but not least, I'm actually wearing pajamas right now, and they are, you got it, MeUndies lounge pants. It's fall, y'all, and it's time to replace your water intake with pumpkin spice lattes and go out of your way to step on a crunchy leaf, because the coziest time of year is here. So find your comfort in undies, loungewear, like what I'm wearing, and more with MeUndies, because MeUndies believes that comfort is about more than what's touching your skin. It's about feeling comfortable in your skin. Val and I heard about MeUndies on another podcast. We love listening to podcasts as well as doing one. And we did a complete underwear and lounge pant overhaul. Even got some onesies, which we love. And they are the most comfortable, softest, and most fun printed, unless you just get the solid colors, which look great as well, underwear that I've ever owned in my life. And we have not looked back. I mean, imagine the softest thing you've ever felt. Now imagine that same thing, but on your butt. Now you're talking about MeUndies. They're designed by the country's top softness scientists to be the softest thing you've ever worn, period. From undies to loungewear, their fabrics are breathable, light, and almost irresistibly cozy. Really, you might not be able to stop lounging on the couch. You've been warned. Available in sizes extra small through 4XL in a variety of classic colors and iconic prints, MeUndies will have your back and your butt all fall long. MeUndies has a great offer for weirdos. For any first-time purchasers, you will get 15% off and free shipping. MeUndies also has a problem-free philosophy. If you're not satisfied with any product for any reason, they'll refund or exchange it. No caveats, no questions. So, to get 15% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/weird. That's MeUndies.com/weird. All right, everybody. I'm very excited for you to hear this. This is Chris Martin. You know the deal. I'm excited. I'm about to say get into it, but also get your butt to my next Living at Largo, September 9th. That's my next stand-up show. Largo-la.com for tickets right here in Los Angeles. All right, get into it.
Same spot.
Yeah, but this is your heart meridian. That's why you naturally want to put tattoos there.
No way. I've never heard that.
Everywhere you see people put emotional tattoos, that all of mine are on there and all of yours are on there.
And this is my lady, my like soft but strong woman.
I love that.
In that same general region. Wow, that's very cool.
What is this? I always want to put a tattoo here so I can see. I wanted to put goodness is its own reward, evil is its own punishment. That's something I always want to, I love remembering that.
Mm-hmm.
You might need a slightly bigger area. That's more of a back
No, he
tattoo.
wants it really tiny.
I do want a
like
memento style.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
Sammy Jenkins? That's what I want, that tattoo. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember that specific line.
Well, that's the tattoo he has right here, because Sammy Jenkins is the person he made up.
I was just thinking about
Spoiler.
goodness is its own reward. What is
I
it?
think
Evil is its own
punishment.
Because there's like these old you'll know about this more than I will, but there's like these old lectures from the 80s where Ram Dass is talking about Trump and is just like that, like feeling so sad for him. He's like, that karma to be that person who is, and this was when he was just like a rich guy.
Way before politics. He was like, he says, if you want that trip, you can have it.
Yeah.
And he says it with sort of like sadness.
Yeah. And we were just kind of talking about, just the mythology of like being rich and famous and powerful is what will make you happy. And we know people, as I'm sure you do, like, and please give us their specific names and addresses, but
and emails.
Where like even though they are living proof that that isn't true, that mythology is so ingrained that like it's like they don't believe it.
They'd rather be you said this. They'd rather be unhappy, rich and famous than wager a risk at like at like true happiness and not rich and famous, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think it does. I think that if you look, there's all of these imagined hierarchies that are designed to make humans feel contextualized and safe. Because if you don't have a hierarchy of religion or money or race or whatever is the system you believe in, then you have to confront your infinite tininess in the infinite magic and mystery, which some of us find like the best feeling of all. And I think for some people it's just too much.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so you're like, you know what, I'd rather join the British aristocracy system.
Yes.
Even though I'm not at the top, I know where I fit.
Yes.
And I think that certainly for me growing up, I was like, well, fame is going to be the answer for me.
Yeah.
For like, what is this deep longing I have? Well, maybe if I get famous, it will go away. And of course, it's not the answer, but
Right.
Yeah.
it's a sort of tangible thing.
Right. And it's actually
it's a line to stand in.
yeah. And I
Do
actually,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you go, oh, there's Ricky Gervais. there's
Yes.
Bono.
There's Tom Cruise at the top, and
Yeah, exactly.
I'm somewhere
We're all behind
on
Tom
like, the
Cruise.
D list. And, okay, so my life has a sort of purpose. And
yes.
The D-list of actors. Like, you've only acted in a few things. You're still... Well, go ahead, Mom. It sounded like you were about to say something.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that's so wise. And it's like, that's happening in our system. Like, I think we all have a part of us that wants the context, which is our brain. That's our brain's loving way of keeping us of orienting us, I think. So your brain just wants to organize and put things in categories and like make sense of everything. But our bodies and our spirits can be and can like marvel in the nobodiness, the smallness, and really like finds peace in that. But rarely our brains let us get to that
Which is
point.
why I think this is a Muji thing. He goes, don't wait for the mind to understand. He's like it's Richard Rohr. He goes like, don't wait for the mind to catch up with the heart. He's like, the human imagination can't imagine a safe vastness. It will only ever imagine hierarchy and tribe and in and out. So it's like, fuck it, basically, is what he's saying. He's like, the human mind will always come up with systems of in and out, and the divine imagination, which is what he calls it because he's a theist, would be like, again, Jesus has that quote where he goes, you can't divide infinity. And the mind doesn't like that. I want to know I'm winning and you're losing. I want to know I'm going to heaven and you're going to hell. At least the brain wants to know who's winning.
I think it was you, that one of my favorite philosophers, who said, even a small bit of infinity is infinity.
That's right. That's what we
And
talked
I really
about
like
tonight.
that a lot.
Yes.
Because I'm not saying that one's smallness is a bad thing.
No.
It's almost like within that smallness you can feel all the hugeness. If that's
Absolutely.
the whole like ocean in a drop kind of thing.
That's it.
And I personally, definitely in meditation, find a real peace of like, oh, it's okay. I'm just in this big one thing, and
Yes.
right now I'm supposed to be a musician, and thank you so much, and I'm going to do my very best, and then I'm going to melt down into whatever the next thing is,
Yes.
whether that's just being some soil or
Yes.
someone's candle. I don't know.
Yes.
And it's all okay. Is the point. So I think twice a day with meditation, you get that sort of like, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
All the stuff that you worry about for the other 23 and a half hours is just a sort of game.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's fun and it's great, and you learn and you grow and you fail and you everything. But ultimately, it's like it's all okay.
But when you
Yes.
put it all down, and that's what meditation is, and you're still there, that's the great news. Is you're like, that's who you really are. All the other stuff is stuck to the window.
That's who you really are, and it's who we really are. It's all of us.
Right.
Yeah.
And everything and every. But it's so hard to, let alone on your podcast. I don't know how to articulate that feeling. It's just a feeling of like, okay, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it comes to me often in like, I don't have to do anything.
That's what
But
we were
it's
saying.
not like,
on the way
I don't
in.
have to do anything right now. I can sit. It's like a deeper, profound, like, I just am. Like I am. I don't have to. And that's, I feel like, really powerful for especially people like us who were raised religious, where it's like you have to do certain things to reach the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
And if the kingdom of heaven is that feeling of just like, oh, it's okay, I don't have to do anything. It's an undoing. It's an unlearning. Mm-hmm. It's an unknowing. The mind can't know it.
But it goes back to what you were saying about success. We just started talking off mic about ticket stress. Like my weekend when this airs, isn't
Aren't
this
you
a
playing
little...
at the Brea on the September the 4th?
The 3rd.
And Laura Bites was going to open for you.
But she got Coco.
But that's why the tickets aren't selling, because she's not going.
Right. She was the draw.
Because she's amazing.
But isn't this piece, though? I was just going to say, this will air after that weekend is done. So it's like a great cosmic, what are you worried about? Like, no matter what, it'll end and then this will air. Like, everything will march on. Like, but I harp on slow ticket sales at the Brea Improv September 3rd weekend.
Well, everybody who has anything to do with ticket sales has been in that position, Pete.
Yeah.
I've been, even with all of the suffering in the world that's happening as we speak, all over the place, still, if you said to me, the tickets aren't really selling in Pittsburgh, that would consume me more than anything. And I say that knowing how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
Because I think that for people who become show business people, ticket sales are somehow a measure of your worth.
Yeah.
Even for you internally.
Yeah.
And because we got into showbiz partly to give ourselves a sense of self-worth, it's like stabbing the wound that you were trying to fix in the first place.
Right. It had barely healed.
Nobody likes you. They're not coming.
Yeah.
Man, I knew it.
I've known it all along.
And what's worse is you go on Instagram, and I'm not normally this way, but I see so many people selling out. They're like, added show. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to subtract a show over here. Mm-hmm. But also, who cares? This is what Val said on the way in. We left the East Side coming here, and I was feeling stressed, and by the time we got here, I felt fantastic. And we were just talking about, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, the folly of looking for it out there. Can you talk about that?
I can talk about that as long as you want.
Please talk about it for roughly 2 hours.
Okay. Well, the folly of what would you describe it?
Of looking for it out there.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
love.
absolutely. I've been working on this a lot. I think that, I don't know if it's a folly, it's just a natural thing of like, everybody, like you were saying earlier, everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants someone to confirm that they're precious and special, because we don't really, at least in the schools I went to, we don't really get taught, you're precious just by existing. Just like that lizard and just like that,
And Alan Watts quote, he's like, have you ever stopped and thought about the virtue that you grew to the most precious jewels that this planet knows, which are your eyes?
Yeah.
Like, you that's part of you, and nobody told you that.
Have you ever watched, there's a video that my teacher Habib sent me a couple of weeks ago of a cell turning into a tadpole.
Wow.
And it starts as nothing, and then you just watch life. It's just wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
I get that feeling anytime I see a
But that
cell
magic
split
that's
into two.
everywhere, that magic that's absolutely everywhere is also strangely hidden in the mainstream media.
But it should. It's worthy of a
culture.
4-inch headline.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so you're not really told as a kid, oh, by the way, you have all this magic in you, and so does everybody, and everyone's different to anyone else, and we're all special, and we're all super special. So you're like, okay, well, I don't feel good about myself, and no one in this circle is telling me that I'm anything good, so I'm going to become something much bigger to get that applause.
Yeah. Can you pinpoint it? Because I had a Christmas Eve where I went up into the bathroom like a movie, like an indie movie.
Yeah.
I clenched my fists. I was just so frustrated with where I was and how I felt. Really how I felt, like small and not special. I clenched my and like angry prayed kind of to myself. Like I was like, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to get out of here.
I can.
You have a moment?
Yeah, I was 14 and I was at boarding school. This is not.
It's okay.
And I went to hang out with I had a guy in the same boarding house as me who had a sister at a girls' school up the road. And we went to hang out with his sister and his friends. And at the end of the day, he said, he said, my sister's asked if you would not come next week. It was like being crushed under a pile of bricks.
Oh no!
And
Oh,
I was like, okay,
no.
I've clearly got to like turn into something else because this isn't really working.
I mean, it's the same thing.
It's like I wish I could like go and talk to that kid and be like, so it's all okay, don't worry.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
normal teenage stuff.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But at the time, it just felt like, all right, I'm just less than nothing, and so in a way, it was the greatest gift ever because
Yeah.
it lit
Absolutely.
a fire, and then that combined with a love of music. Because there's people I know who love music, but they're not really bothered about whether they do it as a job
Yep.
or whether they're in a huge band or anything.
Right.
So
And they're not-
most frontmen, sorry, Peter.
I was just going to say they didn't have the compulsion to master it.
Yeah, most frontmen have some sort of, and I had a few episodes like that, as I'm sure you guys did. Something that lit the fire that just cannot be extinguished. Of like, I will not stop.
Yeah.
And so it's a blessing. And at the time, it felt like a curse, but it was the greatest. I would do nothing but be highly grateful to all of the people
Yeah.
concerned in that.
Well, Val and I talk about that all the
Wow.
time. It's like, I wish I could take away the wounds of her child self, but I'm like, and this is a cliche, but it doesn't mean it's not true. That's who made her into this
Yeah.
person that I love so much.
Yeah.
I know that sounds like a Backstreet Boy lyric, but it's true. So like,
First of all,
I
there's nothing wrong with that.
I want it that way.
Yeah.
If I were you, sidebar, all I would do is do hilarious covers. Like, I would just cover weird songs. Like when Phoebe Bridgers covered the Goo Goo Dolls. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that.
I just think it's so funny. Like, if I were you, if I were Chris Martin, I would just cover like unexpected songs and do them well.
We covered Pony the other day by Genuine.
Oh, perfect.
That's like one of my songs. Katie's laughing
that is
because
one
that is
of
my
Pete's
go-to
songs.
song.
Yeah, well, it's a masterpiece.
It really
I don't know why you...
great song.
I'm laughing because of the earnestness,
But it really is, though.
Wow. Wow.
That sound.
I mean,
That's one of Timbaland's first big songs, you see.
he produced that?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know.
Yeah. And it's brilliant.
Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a...
I loved that moment. Yeah. Okay. So pause for.
Nothing makes me laugh harder than spontaneous agreement because it's what we were just saying. It's mirroring to each other. I see you. I'm in the same room with you. I'm sharing the same existence as you.
Yes.
Please go on. So it was a real laugh, is all I was saying.
Pony. Well, first of all, it's a ridiculous cover for me to do because I'm a 44-year-old white man from the southwest of England.
Yes.
And we just don't say things like Genuine says in the verse.
Yes. Or the chorus.
Or the chorus.
I've never seen Hugh Grant say, "Oh, your pony, I ride it." I've never heard that, not once.
Stupid of me to...
Pardon me. Yes, I wish I could think of any more pony lyrics. That's all I have.
Yeah, if you're horny, let's do it. But,
It's actually very polite.
Jump
my
up, jump on
saddle's
it.
waiting, so yeah, come on and jump on it.
That's what he's saying. My saddle.
My saddle,
Yeah.
yeah. That's very
Swayed
horse. It's one of the biggest equestrian-based songs before Old Town Road.
Oh my God! And Let Me Ride That Donkey, of course.
Yes, I don't know that one
that.
so much.
Oh, Let Me Ride That Donkey, Donkey. Let Me Ride That Donkey. Do you know that song?
I don't think so.
It had a minute in like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Was it before? It was after Pony.
I think some producer was smoking a big cigar and was like, "We got to do something to catch up with Genuine.
Yeah.
Not a horse, a pony." And then they did Let Me Ride That Donkey.
I see.
Yeah, you got it. I
like
blew
it.
it a little bit. Tell me why it's genuinely good.
Well, why is any song good? It just does something to your body.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of times it gets sung in our house is insane.
And-
we sing that song all the
Wow.
time.
Well-
that sound, I just can't get over it. Like you hear it on a dance floor and everyone is ready to party.
But that's a song where there are some songs where even within 1 second, everyone is alight.
Yes.
And that's one of them.
That's right. That's such a
We
good
put
way
it
to
on when we do our Friday episode. Sometimes we're not feeling like doing it. It's one of the fun things about doing a weekly show.
Yeah.
The podcast I can record 4 in a week, and that's the whole month. But we have to do an episode every Friday, or that's how we do it. Sometimes we don't feel like it, and we'll put on Pony by Genuine. What are the other? There's Smash Mouth All Star.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll fight you. It's a good song.
It's great. And
Did you just agree?
I just agreed, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Did everybody hear that?
Did everybody hear that? Mr. Mouth,
or,
did you hear that?
Uptown Funk, as soon as you hear dope, everyone's up.
Yes.
Wait, how does that one go?
Do 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 do. You know it. Thank you. And then the hi-hat comes in. Yeah. On the Uptown Funk. That's a very good cover.
Well, we're already off to a smashing start.
Somebody's going to make some kind of cut of that.
Oh, I hope
all
so.
of the songs. I hope.
Anyway, so what I don't, this is this is why it's silly to do any interviews to do with music, is none of us that do it really understand why it's good or where it comes from.
Yeah.
It's coming from somewhere else. You, like a fisherman or a surfer, you just have to learn a bit of how to catch it.
Yeah.
But you didn't really make it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Who knows where that song came from, but it came through Timbaland, who's a genius of sonics and beats. And
We were just talking about when people go, oh, that was parallel thought. Like, I'll have a joke, and I'll be like, oh, it's very similar to this person's joke. And I go, we're swimming in the same stuff. You know what I mean? It's like we're in a ball pit living. We think we're so isolated. And what I'm saying is it really does feel like the ideas are just byproducts of reality that we're sharing. I don't know. It gets a little woo-woo, but I really feel that strongly. When I remember Greg Fitzsimmons and I came up with the same fountain joke. And I was like, yeah, we both grew up watching people throw coins in fountains. Why do you think you're in that world and I'm in this world? We're in that world. And we both think about funny things. It's going to happen.
it happens with music too. We got sued once for the person said that we'd
Oh, I remember.
taken a bit of their music, which we hadn't. And so we had got some researchers, and they found like 15 other songs when we all had the same phrase in it.
No
And
way.
that's just
That's exactly
how
my
it goes.
point. That's how that we're living in the same world,
We're
and
collaborating, whether we like to think of it that way or not. Like we're living. Yeah, we're getting the same juice.
That's the
for our
one.
creativity.
That's like a practical, like kind of evidence of the fact that it's like one thing thinging itself. But you were saying I liken it to making like hunting. I've never hunted, would not want to hunt, but ideas are like deer, meaning they're sort of skittish, and there's like a listening. We read something that you went through a phase where you like wake up and like try to begin writing right away. Is that true?
Well, so if there's happened this morning where I wake up and there's just something there. It's almost like an inbox. Oh, I got to. And this morning it was a song called "We Got It Made," which is never going to be a Coldplay song because I can't really sing that.
Yeah.
But that's the song that came through this morning. So I get
Smash
up
Mouth
and,
follows me on Twitter if you want me to send it to him.
Okay. So my only rule is if an idea is calling, I can't say no.
That's really cool.
It's beautiful.
And then sometimes you spend 3 weeks trying to craft around an idea, but the idea itself, where it's the same for jokes, I think.
Yeah.
Why do some people just have the gift of one-liners?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just actually you'll love this. I was
Oh, I feel like a compliment's coming.
spent the weekend with girlfriends in Joshua Tree, and they were saying like, I think comedians are all so intelligent. And I was like, no, I live with one.
Hilarious.
So I said,
Very good.
I was like, it is an intelligence, but that's not what's making them so quick, I think, at least with you. Like, it's like an openness. So that's why, like, you've shared about this too, like there's like an edginess that can happen. Like if we're sitting in a restaurant, Pete will notice, like Jason Bourne, like he will know what's happening at every other table around him. And I think of that as like, you're just like so open to life, to like, you're just like an open vessel that it drops in, and you can tell a joke so quickly, or you can have a funny response to something so quickly because it's just, you're open to it. Whereas most of us are like not open.
It is a sensitivity. Like I had breakfast with a friend of mine, and I was like, why don't I do this more often? And then I catch myself deconstructing and replaying every beat of the breakfast, not in a bad way. It's not like plaguing me, but like everything he said will be bled out in every podcast. It'll come out in jokes that I write, because it's like, when I'm listening, it's really getting caught in, and that's a virtue of growing up and not always feeling certain. And it's also, I'm wondering, Chris, if you feel sensitive in the world. Is the world a bit much for you, or are you easy breezy?
Well, I have a lot of tools now too. I get a lot of feelings, but I like any human. And I definitely used to get very knocked over by feelings. And yeah, so that's, I guess, a form of sensitivity. And I'm grateful for that vulnerability because it allows music to come in. But I've had to learn over the last 10 years or so, because I'm an adult man, I don't want to have a sulk or a depression in the middle of an interview or something. You have to function.
Yeah.
So I have good tools to handle. I'm sure you do too. Every day right now is like half massive depression, looking internally and externally, looking at what everyone is going through everywhere. Then elation at being alive, and then music, and I get to do things like this.
Yeah.
And I'm sensitive if someone else is going through something. I'm sensitive if I feel like I've hurt somebody. So yeah, the short answer is yeah, very sensitive. But I don't know whether that's more or less.
It's both.
But I've definitely made a conscious decision to not try and what's the word when you sort of band-aid it?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't really drink. I don't really do drugs or anything because I'm trying to learn to. I feel like the sensitivity is part of the gift I got given.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. And it is like the appeal of mindfulness. So like the fire you were talking about, like my fire for teaching mindfulness and going down this path is that I feel everything like so intensely.
Right.
But before, I didn't really feel that way until I got pregnant, and a lot of the things that happened with that occurred. Before that, I was like sleepwalking. I was completely numbing either with like food or weed or just like in denial of my own feelings. And it is so like creativity, vitality, sensuality, like all of life's good stuff is part of that sensitivity of the of being open to feeling all of the waves of life. And I try to remind myself of that because sometimes I am like, God, this is so much. Like I just
but I think
so
sensitivity is. Did I cut you off?
No, go.
I think sensitivity can be a superpower. Especially if you're in the business of songs or comedy, where you're trying to relate your heart to someone else's heart.
That's it. Yes.
But a bit like in Iron Man 1, where Tony has made the boots and everything, but he doesn't know they're out of control. He hasn't.
Yes.
Mastered it. I realized that my sensitivity was also coming out in really bad ways with the rest of the band. I would really get stroppy in the studio or grumpy or sulky.
Yeah.
Or like if someone wasn't playing the way I wanted it to, I'd be a real dick.
Yeah.
And that's charming when you're 23 and 24, but by your third album, when no one has to be there. And then when it really hit me was with my daughter that I became aware that she was so attuned to me being a little bit unpredictable that it was making her have to, navigate that.
Yeah.
And I had to try and I'm still trying to work on that because I don't want her to feel like she can't be her in case her dad gets upset.
Oh my gosh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
yes. And like,
beautiful.
how much money would you pay to hear your
million.
dad say that?
$1 million.
Well, she won't hear this, I don't think.
No,
but
I know,
it's been
but that's lovely that you recognize that.
Well, I had to be shown that, but I'm really grateful.
Who
because,
showed you?
her mum. Yeah, but,
Because
who's like my big, at this point it's like my big sister.
Yeah,
Gwyneth.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
and there are a few people in my life for whom I'm very grateful. Well, a lot of people. But for sort of, in this case, for saying, hey, you could maybe work on that a bit and it might really improve the whole of your life. And at first I was like, I don't need to work on anything, I'm fine. I'm a rock star. I was like, okay, let's get past that.
well,
And then I'm really grateful to be on, I'm trying, I definitely fail every day. But I'm happy to be at least trying because I don't want to calcify into an old man that's like, like an old ex-famous person that you have to sort of do everything their way, and it's just so difficult to navigate. And
Yeah.
I was just going to say, once you're winning in the way that the West wants to win, which is how can you pay your bills? Do people know who you are? And you have both of those things going for you.
We have two bills. We have Bill, our producer, and Bill, our
pay 'em both.
production manager. We pay both bills.
I did just meet a bill. But when you're winning in that way, it's sort of hard. We don't have a lot of allowance culturally to correct someone who's winning so hard in these regards that culturally we value so much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it must be hard. I know, or I've at least worked with some like super high functioning, successful people, and I can see the risk that you sort of can become like a planet, you know, and everybody just sort of orbits around you.
Yep.
I don't know Oprah, and Oprah seems to be doing wonderfully, to be honest. But I think there has to be a risk of being Oprah, because who's going to tell Oprah she has halitosis? You know what I mean? Like, probably her stylist. But you know what I'm saying? Like, who's going to tell you that you're being a dick to the band? And in this case, it was your
Yeah. Well, I'm also lucky that the rest of the band will do that too.
Yeah.
In a sense.
But it really is. It is. There is something lucky about it, because there, like Pete said, like we know people who we just you kind of like lose your personness if there is a life where everybody is just like will agree with whatever and pretend like, you know.
Well, you become money.
You're perfect.
You become money.
And then
I think
it's got to be lonely.
Well, I think the reason why we're getting along, I hope you feel it, is we don't really want anything from you. I'm so
I'm
glad
on the
we're
fence,
chatting.
but that's
But a lot of people...
No, I asked you to come here. Well, you asked me first, and then I said, yes,
It's very
because
generous.
I love crashing, and I love
And
your
we met
podcast.
because of another wonderful, successful person, which is Judd. And when I was going around with Judd, I got tired of how many times people would say, if I just had 10 minutes with that guy. And you must have that. I mean, there are a lot of people that are just like, could I hum something to you or something? Or would you like to produce this? Or
No,
like,
that doesn't really happen. One time a guy came up to me, he was really drunk at an awards show. He's like, hey, what's it like? And I said, what's what like? Well, you know, being a rock star and everything. And I said, well, it's my dream, it's my passion, everything. And he was like, yeah, I was thinking about it. Just like it was a career choice.
like oh my God.
I'm on the
Thinking I
fence.
might do that.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, you sort of have to have a passion for it.
Yes. And it has to start with somebody saying, my sister says not to come. Like,
Yeah.
you'd know by now.
Yes, you'd have the core wound.
Yeah.
But of course, that I might not be the person to ask about this, because it's difficult to be objective about this. Because I'm sure to some people I do have all of those, you know. So, but I will say that if you're in a band with people that you've been with since you were teenagers, you've all done everything together, or a lot of things together. And if you're then in relationships with people who are equally successful or more successful, and sometimes more famous, and so that sort of cancels that out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much, maybe that's why actors gravitate to actors. You know, there's a sort of, you can just be normal humans together.
Yeah.
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 Or lawyers, I'm sure, attracted to lawyers. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What were the tools that you learned? You said you were coping with these things. We're talking about being a sensitive person.
Oh, yeah.
You said I learned some tools. I'm sure
Yeah.
people are kicking their radios.
The tools that really help me, there's two main ones. One is
Sorry,
meditation.
real quick. Sorry. MeUndies offers the best. I'm just kidding.
Are you wearing all your Pete's Picks today?
I am wearing MeUndies.
I was like, this guy never
They're
pays
blue.
for anything.
I never what?
When I listen to your podcast, I'm like, this guy never pays for anything. What an amazing!
All
I'm
the
going to start
essentials
doing.
covered.
Wait, these
Coldplay
are
pick.
perfect jeans. These are MeUndies.
And you have your
and I have
Apollo
my Apollo
on.
on.
I have mine in my purse.
I bought 2 Apollos. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And about or Lauren did.
I hope you like them.
Lauren, who works with me.
I hope you like it. That's
We
awesome.
love
So sorry, that was a bad interruption.
No, it's a good interruption.
Okay, good.
It was great.
Meditation.
Oh yes, so meditation, number one. And
What flavor?
like tea flavor.
Tea flavor.
Tea flavor?
Tea
Yeah.
flavor.
Tea
That's
flavored?
just tea.
But it's tea flavor meditation. And
Does that mean TM?
yeah, TM. Yeah.
Yes, was that not clear? Okay, yes.
What's your mantra? I'm just kidding.
my mantra is Coldplay forever. Coldplay forever.
No, it's pony. Ride it. So you meditate twice a day?
It's still because I grew up loving Annie Hall. I still get a bit nervous to say to someone, TM has really changed my life, because all I can ever think of is Jeff Goldblum saying, "I forgot my mantra."
That's
in Annie Hall.
That's right.
That's so.
So I'm like, TM people.
Yes, I forgot my mantra. Maybe, Chris, I love that. Love this fabric. Yes, look at this shoe, a loud shoe, just a little punctuation.
That's
at the
good.
End of the sentence. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Can you do him from Portlandia?
If it's
when
not
he's
that,
selling
I
the
can't.
doilies.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, that's Fred and Carrie are in Portlandia, you know?
Yes.
And they go to a thing called the doily shop where they sell doilies. You know, those sort of weird things.
What a perfect
And
setup.
Jeff
for
Goldblum is the
Oh my God.
doily.
Yes. You put this
You
under
might
a
wanna-
teacup, yeah.
that's nice. And then they all have glasses, and you have to just watch it. It's a masterpiece.
Get a pair of scissors and make a snowflake out of this one. Yes. Okay. Keep going.
Do you agree that Fred and Carrie are just? I mean, those three acting together to me is like heaven.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
When Fred did the podcast, I said, "Do you ever get tired?" Because it seems like they're riffing so much. I was like, "Do you get tired of having to carry the jokes in every sketch?" And Fred is just dyed in the wool, silly, and he loves being funny. There's no burden to that man.
No, the first time I ever met Fred after an SNL, he was in a bit with me, but I didn't know. He's like, well, next time, when just like with the bass, just make sure with the bass. I was like,
Very good.
who is this guy? He's like, I just noticed with the bass. All he was talking about was the bass. And then I just really fell in love with him.
Oh,
my
he
God.
is always doing bits.
That's
and
what
it's-
just happened with us. We were just with him, and I said, "I didn't have any coffee today," and he goes,
He went, yes, you did. Oh, wait. No, I guess you didn't. And I laughed so hard because I was like, it's so funny to hear you say something that I would say. Like, that's,
did?
yeah.
"Oh no, I guess you didn't."
Yeah.
Have you seen his character called Ian Rubbish?
No.
Okay.
Oh, maybe.
I think one of my favorite bits on YouTube of all time is Fred as this punk called Ian Rubbish interviewing Mick and Paul from The Clash.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
And Ian Rubbish talks like that. He's got like a real old school punk voice, like that, talking to The Clash, and it's amazing.
Oh, I
Okay,
love
meditation.
that man.
Oh yeah. So meditation. Then the other key thing is a thing called freeform writing, where once a day, for 12 minutes, you write everything that's in your head with no censorship at all.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah.
And then you immediately burn it or flush it away. And what that did for me was let out like all the rage and the stuff that I don't really want to say to anybody, but you don't want to keep it in your body either.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the stuff that if everyone did it, there'd be less car honking and mean tweets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Because that is what they're doing. They're doing their
'cause-
freeform writing on the
'cause
road.
I realize
Yeah.
that I'm someone that gets very easily triggered, very, very easily by certain things, especially if it's to do with someone not liking our music or whatever it might be. So this thing really helped me to have a sort of middleman between someone saying something that triggers me and me responding. Because I used to just fire back and then be all at sea. And so freeform writing just gives you this safe space to say, I fucking hate this, and why does this, I want to make out with this, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then you just flush it away, and it's almost like,
It also puts
Yes.
it
now I
Yes.
can answer the problem.
Yes.
Wow.
And there's something so symbolic about flushing or burning it. Like, because when we're believing those stories, that feels like that's true.
No, it's
that's
so true. When it's in your
real.
body,
Yes,
you're
exactly.
like, this is real, and I have to punch this photographer.
Yes, there's no other way.
There's no
I
other
have
way.
To.
I have to
yeah.
do it.
And
Say
then
the
it
mean
is
thing
once you
said
give
someone said to you. Sorry, Val.
No,
Someone said,
please.
I liked all your albums. What, remember? At lunch is out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this wasn't mean at all. But no, that was a pilot said to me the other day. I really love all your albums from the 90s. I was like, but we didn't make any albums in the 90s. I don't know if that was like the best burn ever.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty funny. I also thought it was just a way of saying I like parachutes. I thought that's what he was saying.
But I think with that, like you're always talking about yes and that's an improv thing, right?
Yeah.
I think with anyone that's saying something nice to you, even if it's wrong, you just have to say thank you so much.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
people say
yeah.
I love you on the Mindy Project. I go, cheers.
Thank you so much. Right? Because why?
Why?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Why? And also, most often I would think the like intention is the person, even if the person's going like, hey, I know you're somebody, I might not know all the details, but like, good job. It's like, that's a lovely intention.
No,
Thank
sweet.
you.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay, getting it out there. Success. What do you like about it? What didn't it? Where did it fail you? You know, it didn't solve your problems. Hey, Chris. Oi, Chris. It didn't solve your problems.
How are you spelling oi there, Pete?
O-I.
Okay.
Because it's like
What's the appropriate way you
I
tell
think
us?
for that situation, that's an oi.
That's an
I
oi.
asked him.
The I is like a upside down exclamation point.
Yes.
Oi.
Because with a proper oi, you have to curtail it very quickly.
Oi,
You can't
oi.
say oi. That's a bit more whiny. A proper oi is going to be like,
Oi. Oi.
Oi.
Oi. Oi. Oi.
I can't do it.
That's what we did at the punk clubs.
like in AC/DC have a song called I can't remember what it's called, but there's a sound in it that goes
Oi. 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 Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Bill will remember what song that is.
You getting it out there. That's what I'm interested in.
Getting what out there?
Love.
Oh,
How'd it work? You were a young man. You got your feelings hurt. And you said, I'll show them. And now you're here.
Yeah.
And we have Spindrift. And we have Twinkle Lights. And there's 4 guitars. That's more than a guitar for each one of us.
Well, the I'll show themness, which I think most people in some form need some kind of rejection to sort of rocket launch them. But that doesn't last forever. I'm not still surviving on I'll show themness.
Yes.
Right.
That maybe got me for the first few years.
Yeah, what's the better fuel?
I think that the fuel changes as you go on. I think that maybe there's an I'll show themness is a sort of rocket booster, but really it's like, I'd really love to do this job that I see REM doing, or U2, or the beat. I really love that. Looks amazing, and I love music, and songs seem to be arriving from somewhere. So that, and maybe we can get signed, and that sort of or the in-awness of it. That's a fuel. Like, what is that like? And then I think the fuel, once you get signed, is to try and stay signed, or see if we can make this our job forever. And then gradually, I think there's always a competitiveness in there somewhere. But luckily, what takes over is just the love of what you do, the love of it. And like, music just switches me on every day, still more than ever. Just a pure love of the form. And then I think the fuel is, I'm supposed to be doing this, and I'm supposed to be doing this for me and also for the people that enjoy it. So I think at a certain point, Bruce Springsteen, I'd say, would be an example of, he's doing it for himself, but he also knows that it's a service to all us Bruce heads, Not that that's more a deadhead thing, but I don't know what we're called, the Bruce fans.
Bruce Butts.
Brusketeers, whatever we're called.
The spring steam.
The Bruce Springsteen. I love that. Okay.
Springs team.
Are you on the Springs teams?
Are you on the Springs team? Are you on Springs team? Yeah, I'm on Springs
I'm
team.
a Springs team. You a Springs teamster?
That's if you're unionized. Yeah. So this is
Oh,
something.
we organise.
Please don't organize. I'm just kidding. I don't have health benefits for all of the Springsteen fans. I have little Post-its on my computer because after you make a certain amount, a certain level of comfort, like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And my notes say, because joy matters. That's a good one.
Right.
To give back what you've received. So you're getting the songs. It sounds to me like you're going, well, then share them, right?
Yeah. And on a fundamental level, I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
Yeah.
Even today, we're working on something new, and it's just like, it makes me want to run to work.
Wow.
And for that, I'm so grateful.
That is
because
great.
there's definitely been times where it's become a little disillusioned, or other things have taken over, or you think, should I be spending all my time trying to become like a stock investor or something? It's like, no, just try and get better at the thing that you do.
Yeah.
And especially because, same for you, for the last year or so, it's been not possible to play for people. So the gratitude for that is overwhelming, and we're about to be able to do a few things for a few people. So
Me too. Literally a half dozen at the Bray Improv this week.
Yeah. But I feel like there's more to it than meets the eye with that, Pete, because You definitely have 500 fans in the Brea area. Even I can tell you that. I mean, I'll come and I'll bring... What's the drinks deal?
I think it's 2 or more. I'm not sure.
But surely if we can do a tweet later or something. I think it's probably COVID-y.
It might be COVID.
This is what I keep saying. These are not normal circumstances.
Yeah.
And also Brea is like close enough to LA where it's like, I don't know, maybe people are like, I'll catch it at Largo. I don't know.
We can't be using this time. I love...
No, but I want to, because I've been there so many times, man.
Yeah.
And I feel
know.
the pain. And of course, I really genuinely
Well, that's
do.
what so we sign up to do this, right? The ticket anxiety is a good example of you get into this because you love music, but then you do. There are a lot of amendments stapled to the I want to tell joke amendments. And one of them is, and I forgot this during the year, is I forgot how personal and how it can make me afraid and angry that the tickets aren't selling.
Yeah.
And I start carrying it in my teeth. Like
Yes.
I feel it in my teeth. I'm driving with Val to this lunch and lovely time, and I did not feel right until I was just like, I just have to tell you that I'm feeling anxiety that I haven't performed in a while, so I feel like I have a fist fight coming up. And we're supposed to talk about who we're going to have lunch with tomorrow. Like, I have a fist fight with a bald man and a mustache, like old-timey fisticuffs. That's what it feels like when you haven't done stand-up in a long time and you're a little rusty. You're like, how's it going to go? So you're scared. And then on top of that, not that many people yet. Watch it sell out. It'll be great. But like, not that many people want to come. And you forget, and I'd love to point this back to you, you love playing music with your friends, but all these other things came along that you didn't know. Nobody trained you how to deal with them necessarily.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's like having a baby, no one...
Yeah, no instruction manual.
There's not really... I think for bands, if you're a nerdy... We're so nerdy that we study all the bands before. And so that is a form of instruction manual. Maybe don't get into heroin at this point, or maybe don't try and take all the money, even if the song is made,
That's right. It's a Bill Burr.
Share
He
money
goes,
and
don't
share
you
credit.
watch Behind the Music?
Yeah.
That's what he said. He's like, I don't understand why these bands are burning out. He's like, haven't they seen Behind the Music? And
But
you guys are.
It's yeah. I forget what the point was of what I was saying.
That's okay. Let's just sit in
Let's
the
have a
eternal.
Pete's pick.
This is a good time.
My underpants, I don't know where they came from, but I'd like to speak about them. Because I might get some free ones. They got like a white band at the top and very comfortable. And
That sounds like the micro-modal fabric of MeUndies. I can't be sure.
You have so many MeUndies. Like, as somebody
I do have
who...
a lot of MeUndies.
where did you get your one piece? I love it.
Oh, this is Rachel Antonoff, who is...
Divine.
Yeah, I'm happy to...
Edit that out.
I mean, she's doing fine. She doesn't need a shout out, but she's
Everyone could use
designer
a
in New
shout
York.
out.
She's
Everybody,
great.
you can be doing fine, and maybe your tickets aren't selling in Brea.
That's right.
Listen,
Val, but let's keep talking about it. Because is she your friend, or you just purchased it from a retailer?
She's not a friend, although Pete danced with her at a wedding once.
What?
And then I got really...
You were there?
I wasn't there.
What?
because she wasn't invited.
Yeah.
And then
Went
I
without
got
going
there.
with Val?
Yeah.
And she wasn't invited.
Were you together at the time?
We were
We were
together.
together.
At the
So someone
time.
invited you, but not Val.
Yeah,
That's
but
right.
we were new.
I don't
We
know
were...
if you should have gone to that, man.
I don't think I should have gone
What's
either.
the moral code on that?
Thank you.
Yeah.
They didn't say +1?
No.
I didn't tell you this, but I had already bought a
And-
dress for it.
Oh, that's a
Wow.
heartbreaker. And when I got there, plenty of seats.
Yeah.
Plenty of
They
seats.
hadn't sold out?
They did not sell out the
Not
Brea
so-
wedding.
They specifically didn't want me there because I'm
No,
a
I
real
don't think that's the
showstopper.
case. It was a showbiz wedding, and it was a showbiz move. And you know what, Chris? 100%. Fuck off. I would have shredded that wedding invite now. I would shred that wedding invite.
That would be
right now.
funny if that was your reply on the very
Fuck
smart
off.
invitation.
Yes. Fuck off.
Have you ever been told to go fuck yourself?
Not recently.
I got texted it about 5 years ago, and it still haunts me.
Go
Yes,
fuck
that is
yourself.
Yeah, and the guy that said it, I think he was quite wasted and stuff, and
I
he
can't
was
believe
upset about something. It was a real misunderstanding,
Oh, man.
but it still bothers me today.
Yes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just
I feel
talking.
bad about it.
Oh, I honked at somebody once on Christmas Eve, and every time I drive by that intersection, I go, I should have honked. It was Christmas.
Yeah.
I
I was like, what could I
remember
have
that.
done to not make him say that?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
I was just talking to my girlfriends about this. Like, you know, there are people who like get really mad and say the worst shit, and then will be like, well, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
And like, I am like so sensitive, as we all seem to be. And I remember, like, because in my previous marriage, there would be things like that. And he would be like, well, I was fighting. I didn't mean it. And I'm like, I still remember every word.
You Jason Bourne it.
That just like words are so important to me, and they like they stab and they stick, and I like collect them, and it's so hard to let it go. But I really do think there are some people who haven't learned to meditate in freeform right, clearly, who like they actually do mean it when they say, well, I didn't mean it. I wonder.
But you have to be a real hothead.
Yeah.
Like Joe DeRosa and I had an argument where he really lost his temper, but he's such a hothead that I say that with a lot of love, I believed him when he said I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
But if you're just like pretty even all the time and then you tell me to
just say, go fuck yourself, then you're like, oh, shit.
Right. Chris, would you talk about the weakness of our strength? That changed my life.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I love this.
My friend gave me a book called The Course of Love by Alain de Botton. Or if you'd say it without the French accent, it's Alain de Botton. It doesn't sound quite as...
De Botton?
De Botton.
Oh,
doesn't sound as good. So De Botton.
De Botton.
Des Botons.
Who's a brilliant, I guess, a philosopher and writer. This is a book about two people in a marriage, actually. And it's really great. But he used this phrase in it, the weakness of our strengths, which really like... It resonated with me so much that I did an upfold on the bottom of the page to remember.
Yeah.
That's really special.
An earmark isn't enough for this. We need a
so
half-page
like
bottom.
earmark and a whatever the underside of that is.
Yeah.
And so the weakness of our strengths. So he was saying, you know how everyone goes through stuff as young people, and your body adapts to survive, whether that's you have an alcoholic father or you're a refugee or your body will, the human body is unbelievable. So what?
Covered my family.
That literally is his parents.
Right, but so we're miraculously made so we can adapt to most situations. And then sometimes later in life, those neural pathways are maladapted. Well, you still use them, but for the wrong situation. So let's say you learn to be very armored because you had abusive parents. That might mean later on in your own relationship, you're not very good at letting that person in or talking vulnerably about yourself. Or you had to lie about your feelings so as not to upset someone. So later on, you don't want to tell someone how you really feel. So you
the
pretend.
thing that kept you safe and alive.
The thing that kept you safe also has a shadow self.
Right.
And that's, I think, what he means by the weakness of your strengths.
And for all the, I therapize and talk about growing up in my family and everything, that really helped me put into perspective, like everything that I might perceive now in 2021 as a grown man with grown parents, old parents, that seems frustrating. Like, why can't you just this, or this? Well, that's just the weakness of their strength.
Yeah.
And the strength kept them alive.
Yeah,
it kept
you alive.
It kept me alive. It wasn't perfect, but as we always say, it was the best they could do. And now we're just dealing with some of the weakness of their strength. It's a it's a beautiful idea.
I really like the phrase because it helps with, if you're trying to empathize with everybody, whether that's Donald Trump or Kim Jong-un or whoever, you're like, okay, well, of course I don't really agree with this, but how did this happen? And I don't want to waste time hating anybody.
Yeah.
So you also can apply it to yourself and to everyone else. It sort of eases understanding of why people behave they do, or why you behave the way you do sometimes.
That's right.
Like, why do I get so thrown if I hear that someone said something mean about a song? Why? Well, maybe that's the weakness of strength in some way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite quotes. It's hate is a lack of imagination. And it means, like, if you do take that conscious
I love
step.
that. Who said that?
I don't remember. And I think I've Googled it, and I don't know. It was inconclusive.
Okay.
I've also expanded it to be hell is a lack of imagination, like just throwing people into hell or throwing people into the hell of your own judgment, just hating them. It's not taking the moment to be like, well, why are they that way? And would I have been that way if I was in the same situation? And certainly with the same body and the same brain, you would have been.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I love that. You don't want to waste time hating
Well, it's
people.
interesting. Like, let's look at the Taliban. Like, I've been trying to think. Like, okay, what a young man that's in the Taliban. How did they get there? And would I be the same? And the answer is most likely with that experience.
That's right. You want to think, oh boy, Val, this is a little off topic, but she's helped me really blow my mind. When we're having a negative feeling, it's not, and it's Tara Brock, but it's not.
It's what?
Tara Brock taught Val this.
She's one of my teachers.
It's not just the feeling, it's the shame that you have the feeling. I don't know why what you just said made me think of that. But like, you'll be angry, but then really the suffering comes because you're mad or ashamed that you're angry, that you read something that you didn't like. And that's just blown my mind. I know we went from the Taliban to that, but like, I couldn't wait to tell you.
Well, that's the Rumi poem, The Guest House, which is the third tool that I was going to say.
Yeah.
That thing really changed my life because that when you're told that, oh, you're not your feelings, you're the sort of observer behind them, but they can be very powerful and overwhelm you. So try and learn how to just accept them like guests, but not take control. And that is an ongoing practice. But that is a path to some form of peace, I think. Those that really practice, because there comes a time where you're like, why do I get all these fucked up thoughts or feelings, and it's just lovely to have this poem partly from the 13th century and partly from Coleman Barks' translation of it that is like, oh no, you're human, that's why you get all this feeling.
That's right.
Yeah, when I read that poem, I really am like, oh, this is part of the game. Like, I'm not broken, because that is like what you were saying, the shame around being like, I feel everything. I feel like every human emotion, and one day I must be broken. What's wrong with me? Yeah. And you read that and you're like, oh, humans have been experiencing that. Yeah, exactly. And the idea of, I love the part that says, greeted at the door laughing. Yeah. Like the idea of welcoming those feelings. Like, I know you. You're so, when I can like really sit and be with my fear, I almost always will have a moment where I laugh because I'm like, you're my most familiar friend. Yeah. Like, you've been with me the entire time. Yeah. I'm not like, I'm scared of you like you're this other monster. I know you. We've been living together for 32 years.
It's like seeing Dracula. Like, Dracula isn't scary anymore to our modern, like, it's just like a weird old guy, very pale, wearing a cape. It's not scary. He was scary when you were a little kid and you saw him. You're like, hey. And you're like, ah. But now I see Dracula and I'm like, what, are you here to sell me breakfast cereal? Yeah. That's like fear. Yes. How many times can you see him and still be startled? That's
exactly it. And it's kind of feels cliche at this point, but like, that's the portal. Like, that's the gift. If my fear is here, if I can see it as like, okay, so that's all of a sudden a doorway has opened up into pure presence. If I can be with this fear and really just nurture it and cradle it, then I'm going to get into a space inevitably of like spacious, loving awareness. Alchemy. It's alchemy. You need the chemicals. You can't be mad at the chemicals.
Well, yeah. And it's like boxers can't get good at boxing unless they've known how to be hit and how to take a hit.
Right.
You don't get bigger muscles unless you lift things you don't know how to lift. So I feel like all these things get sent to us, and if you're given some good guidance, they can all strengthen you. Yeah. I think my only feeling is like, you know, it's definitely in a lot of countries around the world now, I feel like, who's getting taught these things that have really helped me? Yeah. How you know, imagine if you're in Afghanistani refugee right now, or you're in a lower income families, you know, who is helping you with these feelings? And then all these kids that get sent to prison for drug use or whatever, well, no one has given them any chance or any tools or any way of like, you must have a lot of rage and trauma in you, and that's help. So this is a bit of a segue, but
no, I love that. Yeah. How is it? How to make it accessible?
I feel in a strange way guilty because of having access to all this stuff that's really helped me so much. And wondering, like, I wonder how everyone else can that this really might be a helpful tool for everybody, not just, you know, middle-aged soft rock stars, but but for everybody.
Yes, yes.
For the guy that like swears at you in traffic, or the guy that's a dictator right now in Belarus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this yesterday. I get the same guilt. Like, I'm like, this is such a privilege. It's also a privilege to just have my basic needs met so that I can heal these wounds. It's the hierarchy of needs.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, but I was also just thinking, like, this is why when I first was taught to teach mindfulness, it was like 3 basic steps. Take your seat, place your attention on your breath. When you've noticed that your mind has wandered, gently return back to the breath. And that's like the whole practice.
Yeah.
And I have all these other practices, and I do guided meditation, and I do loving kindness and all of that. And I love it all. But there's something so beautiful about the simplicity of that instruction, because it really is like, if we could just get the word out to just like breathe, and when you're lost in thought, gently return back to the breath. Like, that's so simple. It seems like my mom can get on board with that. Some of the other practices I do, she might think would be inviting the devil in, but like, focus on your breath. And when your mind wanders, return back to your breath. Like, there's nothing crazy or woo woo about that,
Yeah, you're right. It's so funny though that we're all so programmed to judge and hate things that we have no idea about at all. And it's just out of not knowing.
Yeah.
For example, I was raised to think that yoga was evil.
Me too.
And then I started doing yoga, and I was like, this isn't evil.
What about
this is really helpful. And I feel like if Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha, I feel like they'd all be really down with yoga.
Yes.
Breathing and being kind to your body and being kind to others and stuff. So
I love that you said that, because that's one of the things that some yoga classes I've taken seem to forget, which is that compassion. Val, of course, is a master of that, but like going like, if you can't, it's an opportunity to love your body and go like, you know what, I can't, I need to take a break or something.
Right.
Like, that's sort of the point, is to attune with the body. We've sort of westernized it and been like, tame your inner bitch, man, and like go for it. But it's like, when you can realize
it's our
that...
new album title, but carry on.
What's that?
No, I'm joking.
That's your mantra?
Tame your inner bitch,
yeah. You were raised evangelical. That's sort of...
very.
And Church of England, which we both pretend to know what that means. I don't know.
I was just going to say, I feel like kind of starstruck about the Church of England just because the Crown. And C.S. Lewis talked a lot about it, but I don't know very much about it.
Yes, well, it's just this one church in England, and we all go there.
Westminster Abbey, yeah.
I knew it.
Everyone, we all just show up there every Sunday.
Wow,
and the Queen does a speech and some juggling, and then we all go home and have some cake.
I knew it. Such a magical place.
Yeah. No, the Church of England, I guess, is, I don't know what the equivalent would be here, sort of deep Protestantism?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Protestantia. And Catholicism. Protestantia. Sort of the old-fashioned with big hymn. One of the reasons why our songs probably sound like they do and have big chords and everything is because I grew up with so much big chordal hymn music, and I love it.
Yeah.
In the same way that if you ask Beyonce, probably her church had you can hear that in. Well, definitely sure. Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where all of your musicians went to church is often a big...
Or Lauryn Hill, Sister Act. That was a documentary, right?
Yeah.
Whoopi Goldberg really is a man.
No, you can. I bet you would do a real ripping cover of Be Thou My Vision or something like that.
Be Thou My Vision.
Those chords, those sound kind of Coldplay.
No, definitely. Numerous lawsuits against us. The Church of England.
That's who sued you, the Church
himself.
of England.
Yeah. Now listen. I'm all for a big chord. But this is taking the piss. I didn't make you to make this shit. Make your own ideas, fuckface.
No.
That's God, yeah. Perfect.
But you were raised evangelical, though. That was surprising.
Yeah,
to me.
both. Yeah,
a little both.
A lot of both. Yeah,
a lot of both.
How did they vary in your?
Just mainly the music and what you wore. I think.
And what impact did it have on you? For me, it was very moral. It was about like looking like you were a good boy, not being
Yeah.
sexual, not being
All of that, yeah.
fear of hell. Did you
Yeah,
get all of it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And then one day when I was about 19, and also I think, I don't need to get into that bit, but
Sounds like we want to go to that
no,
bit.
it's okay. When I was 19, I was having a conversation with a priest or minister, and I said, I really don't like this idea of people going to hell. Even the worst person in the world, there's probably a reason why they were like that, and sure, maybe ground them for a couple of weeks, but
Yeah.
eternal damnation seems weird if that person was created by this version of God, and
Yeah.
I don't think Jesus would really be that into some of the stuff that's done in his name. So I just had this sort of thing of maybe I believe in a slightly different kind of God, and that was a sort of epiphany. That was like age 21, but before that, it was very much like connecting to the music and the spiritual side of it, because I really felt all that. I was like, yeah, there's definitely a hugeness and a wonder and a magic, but then also extremely punitive and shameful and OCD and really kind of weird view of myself as a awful person,
Yeah, that's right.
and not really knowing how I became an awful person, except that everyone was telling you that that's inherently what you are.
Right.
So this seems like it just felt so weird.
What did the minister say, or the priest, when you?
He said, "Well, it's the way it is." And I
You
said,
mean-
"I think I might need to go off on my own path."
Oh, you mean he didn't minister to you? He
No,
just-
he just said, "Yep, all gays go to hell."
Really?
Wow. I'm
Was that
sticking
what?
with that.
And what?
So I'm going to double down. and I'd also, yeah. That's funny to talk about it like that. No.
Yeah.
No, it's heavy.
Yeah,
It's
It's not that
literally-
heavy, Pete. It's like, it's fine. And this is so many people, and
Yeah.
millions and billions of people in the world right now have even heavier religiosity
for sure.
put on them under fear of death.
For
So
sure.
we're okay. We had the freedom of choice to say, actually, I think I believe in something different.
Yeah.
But I think as a teenager, you definitely have some programming that it takes years to undo.
And what started to untie the string for you, and how did you retie it?
Untie the string was just feeling like, I don't really believe that.
And then did you just have nothing for a while?
No, I've always believed or known in something.
Yeah.
But I didn't, I would say I've stopped being a Christian
Yeah.
per se.
Yeah.
But I became more of an all-theist.
All theist?
Yeah, an all-theist.
I've never heard all theist.
No, it's a new phrase, and it's really not going to catch on. But
I think it will. I think
I feel like
fills a
maybe I'll
gap.
just try and believe in everything and see how that feels. And
All
it feels
theist.
better.
All theist.
Yeah.
Was there any teacher or person or quote or something you read that like helped you give language to your alltheism?
Yeah, once I started reading Rumi, but that was not until age 31.
So you were
two.
just free for him until then.
Yeah, it was a mess, quite frankly.
Really?
Yeah.
How did that manifest?
The normal.
But it's not the
ways.
normal because it's not drugs and alcohol.
Well, there was, yeah. Just being quite OCD and quite just all over the place.
You mean trying to control reality?
Trying to control reality, yeah. I did have a lot of sleeping pills at one point. Just to try and have a break from that voice that's like,
Yeah.
you're awful.
Yeah.
Oh no, really?
No, it's not. No, I mean, this is great. This is I love it. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then in like 2012, I got shown Rumi, and I was like, oh yeah, there's other people that believe in God as this oneness, and all people are special, and all creatures are special, and no one's better or worse than anyone else, and that's what I've been yearning to have echoed, and it's in all of our songs, this sort of belief in this biggerness and belief in love and everything. But it wasn't until about 10, 12 years ago that I've heard it come back to me from way more serious sources.
Yeah.
So am I waffling?
No, that
Are you
makes
kidding
so
me?
much sense. I
No,
I
you're talking
love
to
that.
two people that would understand.
I thought I was a bit nuts for a while,
Really?
singing about love, and most of our love songs are really, I think, songs to God in a way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't
I
surprise me.
totally agree. Well,
So-
Yeah, it is the and a lot of original, especially feminine mystics talk about the beloved and yearning and loving, and it's kind of just the love. It's not.
Well, it is sexual.
It's like God is love,
and God is.
Oh, I have that on my arm.
You
it says God is love.
Oh, wow.
Or
right
love
in your
is
heart.
God. It works both ways.
It works both ways.
And sexuality is part of that. I've tried to make this work on stage a few times, but it's just a little too weird, even
Let's
for
try it.
LA. I'll try it. It was just the idea that the universe is sex, meaning you're being penetrated by the air you breathe. It comes inside. I don't mean it comes. I mean it enters you. That's sexual.
Well, everything is a union.
And you
Yes,
eat. We ate lunch and we chewed it. We did it in front of each other
And you
too.
inhale,
A
you
bunch of
ingest, you
freaks.
intake.
Yeah, exactly. And you drink things and it goes inside of you. And part of it becomes you and is you. And then you poop. I'm not trying to be gross here. I'm like, you kind of have this pleasurable reverse anal sex dropping of the food that is you and now isn't you. What I'm saying is, you are connected to everything, and that if sex is union, your oneness with all things is sexual. I don't mean it's erotic or kinky or arousing.
I understand.
I just mean everything. It does
Your body
away,
is interacting with other things all the time.
and it only
Yeah.
exists in relationship to those other things.
Yeah.
So my friend Michael Gungor has this great book called This, and he says, you are like a tree. You are as connected to the earth
Yeah.
as a tree is. You are the wireless upgrade, meaning
Yeah.
you can walk around.
Yeah.
Your roots are called feet.
Yeah.
But you are planted to this planet. If I took Chris Martin and put you into the cosmos, you would freeze and you would die. You would
Yeah.
be gone. You are the planet. You are the
Yeah, I
planet.
love that, Pete. That's so nice to have someone else say it.
Yes.
Makes me feel like, okay, that's not completely nuts.
It's not
Because it's really true.
Yeah.
But with so many things that are true, if you try and say them in English, you just sound like an idiot.
Yes.
Yes.
Have you? This isn't a gotcha moment, and we can
You
even
can
cut it
gotcha
out.
me.
We got you.
Well, I just mean I ask everybody, so don't think it's an abusive celebrity or anything. Have you done psychedelics? Have you
Nope.
ever had an experience?
Oh, only
with
once on mushrooms.
that? Okay, so you did
Once, and I loved it, and that was good.
once and done.
It sort of confirmed my suspicions
Well, this is
about
what
the
I'm hoping.
universe.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yep, that seems to be true. So,
got it.
I'm on the right path.
but
Got
also,
it.
I think that to be realistic, I think that wanting to sing in front of thousands and thousands of people is very addictive, elating.
Alicia.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Relatia.
It's my new wordsmith over here.
I'm just
Do you want to
thinking
come on
about
tour and be just a
full-
personal wordsmith?
Yes.
I think what he's trying to say is Alicia, everybody.
He means wordsmith. Yeah.
Oh my
Protestantianism.
Oh my god. Oh my
You can just
god.
stand right there on the stage and be like, what he really means is this.
There's the ASL
Yeah.
and there's the VAL.
Exactly. So I did that, and it was wonderful. And I don't do so well on drugs and alcohol. It messes with the music.
Oh,
Some
really?
people it enhances it, and for me it doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And how does that manifest? Like you'll feel cloudy, or you feel like you can.
Like I
access
don't
it?
drink because I drink a little, sometimes like a shot of something, but I don't really drink because when I was 17 at my best friend's birthday, I was wasted, and there was a girl I thought was lovely, and I was like, "Hey, listen to me play a song," and she's like, "All right." And
Oi, all right.
and then I sat down at the piano, and it was like my fingers were made of plasticine. I had no idea what to do with them anymore.
Oh no.
And it was this very lucid thought that was like, listen, for Keith Richards or someone, this works great.
Yeah.
For you, it's either or.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I
With Keith Richards, it's not real.
chose.
They're giving him shot glasses, but that's Ensure. He's doing shots of brown Ensure, and he has been for 20 years now. You think he's staying alive on Jack Daniels? That is not how the universe works. What was the circumstance that you did mushrooms?
Just with some people.
You can say blokes.
No, it was with
Some mates.
multi-gendered group.
And were they on them as well?
Yeah, we all did. This was like
Outdoors?
2014. Yeah, outdoors
In a beautiful place?
in a beautiful place. Yeah.
So
And
it
you-
was a good experience.
It was really wonderful.
Wonderful.
It was
yeah.
wonderful. I have a friend called John Hopkins, who's a artist, who's a brilliant. I guess you describe him as an ambient or techno kind of thing. Anyone who's listening who knows who he is will know what I mean.
Yeah.
He's one of Brian Eno's proteges, and we've worked together now for 15 or 16 years. And he's really into all the stuff you guys talk about, psychedelics and everything. And he's about to release an album, which I hope he's announced. Well, if he hasn't, we can
We'll
dedicate
drop
it out.
this, yeah.
But he's releasing an album called Music for Psychedelic Therapy.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that I'll show it to you if we ever meditate together or something. It's so wonderful, and it's a real reminder that you don't actually need to take anything to get to that place.
Yeah.
He's created this. It's sort of music and sort of not, and it's brilliant. So I felt like after I did mushrooms once, okay, that's really the confirmation I needed of how I feel about the universe. So I don't need to do that again.
Something walked you there, but now you know how to walk back your own way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
But
really
I
cool.
think for other people, it's just amazing what it does.
Yeah. Have
I was just going to ask, do you find it hard to access sometimes? Like that's what I actually am in a similar thing where I think I'm done with psychedelics for good, but what it did for me was give me like a reference. So when I'm having a hard time in my practice, like accessing that piece or whatever, I have like a reference. I can remember what that
Right.
experientially felt like.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. That's like the guy that taught me meditation, a guy called Bob Roth from the David Lynch Foundation. He gave me this image, which even if I'm really out of sorts, even during a meditation, I can't really get there. He gave me the image of life and all of its intricacies being like the surface of the ocean. And at any one time across the ocean, there's thousands of different types of waves, and some bits are calm and some bits are turbulent. And that's how our life is. He said, in meditation, just try and sink underneath for a while.
Yeah.
And that's what I try and think of, like, okay, all this is going on and I'm worried about the band and what's happening in Afghanistan and what's happening in Belarus, and these people don't have enough food, and this song doesn't sound quite right, and this person doesn't like me. It's just like, okay, just that can all stay on. I'm just going to sink under here for a minute.
Love that image.
So I love that you have that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do have the one thing I remember about being on mushrooms that one time was that I was with my girlfriend at the time, and we were on a rock in a stream, and I just didn't want to leave. I had someone to come and get me, and I was like, no, I'm good here. This is where I live now. And my best friend Phil came to say, look, that's great, but we should probably go back.
Yeah.
the water levels are rising, Chris. We need to get going. Now I'm a frog now.
So what's your image? How do you get to that place? Let's say you're in the middle of Manhattan and everything's like...
Yeah, for me, I don't know if there's a visualization as much as it's like this, it feels like this like cozy nook that I go into that's almost lives like right here, like very close to my third eye, I guess. I access it most easily by first just feeling the aliveness in my body. So it's like dropping into my body. So really the piece could be as simple as that. It's just when I take a moment to be in my body and fully allow everything, all the life that's happening there to happen without the story. So even when it is feeling like activated, like there's anxiety in my body, when I can truly drop the story, it's like, it's not a problem. It just feels like, like you're looking at the ocean with waves, and it's as arbitrary as waves.
What do you mean by drop the story? I think I know, but can you explain?
Yeah, I love that question.
Sorry, real quick. The perfect gene is...
Please? Just can't help himself. Come on, Val.
I can't.
It's me and you now.
Okay.
He'll chime in. Keep going.
You just got to power through. So the way that I see it and the way I've been taught is and I can actually, when I slow down, I really feel this to be true. Your body has a sensation. All of our bodies just have, for whatever reason, it could be stored energy from trauma. It could be like epigenetic energy. It could be a million different things. It doesn't matter where it came from. But you have a sensation, and then you have a feeling about that sensation. So there's like maybe like a swirling in my stomach, and then I go, I'm anxious about that. And then my brain goes, because it's learned not to just trust the body's process, which would be to just let that live for a time, like the guest house, and then be released. But my brain instead tries to organize and goes, okay, you're anxious, so it's probably because of what's happening in Afghanistan, or really more the story is often like, well, it's anxious. Like, how bad is this going to get? Am I going to have a panic attack? Am I going to die? Like I told Pete, like sometimes the voice my brain will give me for my anxiety is like, am I going to completely lose it? And I don't even know what that means, but there's just like, that's how I know I'm in my brain, because I guess lose it is like lose control, and the brain is just trying to control. So my brain will tell stories like, okay, we're going to panic this. There's no bottom to this. This is really big. And then my body works on a better safe than sorry method. And so it's reacting then to all the stories my brain is telling.
I see.
So they're just feeding off each other.
Drop the story.
So I just try to say, okay, there's no clearing the story, but it's like your image. So that's just going to be on the surface of the water. So instead, I just go over and over to, okay, where do I feel that in my body? What's actually just happening in my body? And then my brain will go, oh no. And I go, yep, that's the story. Thank you. And what's happening in the body. And the more I practice that, the more I'm like, there's no problem. It's just a sensation.
I love that. That makes me think of two things. Well, one thing, it makes me think of that all things in nature on every scale are always in various states of peacefulness and unrest, whether that's like in the insect world or the sky. Even the sky itself is and the sky is fine, because it's just like, well, yeah, part of me over there is really stormy. Over here we have a hurricane. Over here the sun's shining nicely, and I'm just holding all of it, and I'm fine, and I'm the sky. And that's what I feel like you're trying to get to there. Like, yep, all of this stuff is happening, and it's okay.
That's a meditation technique, is to remember that you're not the clouds, you're the sky.
Yeah.
Right.
And to identify with the blue sky and go like, well, there's depression. The difference between this is Ram Dass, I am depressed. That's not dropping the story. That's identifying with the story. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let's not get hard on ourselves. I do that too. I go, I'm depressed sometimes. But going, there is depression, is that's the difference. Going, I am is noticing.
Yeah.
And that's what we were talking about on the way in. I was like, I'm just anxious today. There's just something going on here. But just going like, there is anxiety, or there is a storm going by. I love that image of the ocean and of the sky.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you don't have to address things, I think. Like, we do need to help get the tickets sold.
That's right.
Or we do need to try and make sure that everyone is fed on the planet, and we do need to make sure that we help the environment.
Right.
But I think internally it's just like, just to try and be kind to yourself. Like, you're not a terrible person just for existing.
Yeah.
I think that so many of us are programmed that way. And then how can you possibly help anyone else if that's your main inner monologue? And so I think that's why I feel anytime I'm like, this is selfish to do meditation and all this work. It's like, no, I don't think it is, because if you're kind to yourself, it's way easier to not be thrown by other people and to be kind to them.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you're doing it from a compassionate place. So Eckhart Tolle has something like this, where it's like, if you're like protesting something purely from a hateful, us and them separated place, then you're kind of just pushing forward that same energy in a different way. But if you're doing it from the same action, from a like, we are the same, we're in this together, compassionate place, even if you're angry, but you're angry because of the compassion that you have for the people suffering, that matters.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Have you ever seen a ghost? You have. You're British.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really haunted over there.
Of course it is.
I've only ever met people who've seen a ghost.
No ghosts.
No ghosts. No.
I'm seeing you in a British prep school. You got
What
the
time is it,
vest
Pete?
and the
I
tie.
just got to make sure I've done. I have to leave at about just around 4.
What time?
3:13.
Oh, that's great.
Wow, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Have I ever seen a ghost?
Yes, and we can be done whenever you want. You've been so generous.
No, I love it. As long as you're okay. You guys
Yeah.
okay?
Katie's good. Katie's drunk.
It's okay.
What about a UFO? You never know.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, hit
Let me
it.
go back to the ghost thing.
No, UFO.
First of all, I don't know if I've seen a ghost because
Maybe I'm a ghost.
Right. So I realized the other day that the 4 of us in the band have probably been in a room with about 10 million other people over the course of time, which is a lot of people to have met, sort of.
Yeah.
So any one of them could have been ghosts or aliens. In fact, I heard this amazing thing the other day.
That's a really great point.
Well, I think it's a guy called Jordan Maxwell, a thinker, said there's definitely aliens here. But if you were an alien, would you let the human race know that you were here? No, you wouldn't, because
Wow.
they would
Of course.
fucking kill you.
Yeah.
So it's like any species smart enough to get here is not going to make itself known.
Of course.
Wow.
It was right there.
Like,
Wow.
So I thought what an amazing thought.
Yeah.
In the same way, we wouldn't just waltz into Afghanistan right now looking like you. You'd be in trouble.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Taliban they're not going to like you. So
Right. So you'd blend in.
So you'd blend in.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever been doing a show for lots and lots of people and you got fixated on one person that was just like stone-faced?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the short answer. Yeah.
Can you remember their face?
Sort of.
Have you ever broken the fourth wall and been like, I know you guys are having a great time?
No, it's
except
funny, but I've
this
been
one?
working on this with a guy called Harry, who's an older guy who's been in AA for a long. He's a different kind of teacher, and I wanted to do some work on fame. What is fame and self-worth and everything.
Yeah.
So he said, "Tell me an example." I said, "Well, we were in Sweden one time, and I think it was like 70,000 people, and we came on, and in the first song, I noticed in the photographer's pit there was a lady on her phone, just looking down on her phone and texting, and I was playing, and I can't illustrate this on audio, but I was looking ahead and then sort of looking down, like, what the." And what you would describe as your frontman mojo, it was like a leak started happening.
Oh, no.
And it just started all of the things that keep me on stage, and that's where I feel like that's the real me. It was like someone had just punctured it.
Oh, no.
Wow.
And this was just one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, the story of it was that she was coordinating photographers or whatever she was doing. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
It was how I saw it.
Yes.
And so that has happened about 2 or 3 times
Yeah.
over 20 years. And in each of those times that I've turned to our drummer, Will, and I've said, I'm out of here.
Really?
Yeah, and each time he's like, you're okay. He's like a sort of a walking... He's not really into any of this stuff except that he sort of is it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes. I've known people like that.
You know, so how some people don't need to do all this work because they just are that.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. I
He
think
is calm and he is serene and he does see all feelings as just passing through. He doesn't go too high, he doesn't go too low.
Wow.
He's kind to people, he's kind to himself,
Wow.
and he's the best, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I was before my mercury poisoning.
I'm sorry about that.
Hilarious.
It is kind of funny. I'm like, will I return to that?
You will definitely return to that.
Thank you.
What are the other things you mentioned? Things that trigger you? I'm right there with you if somebody's on the phone or something.
But then you have to tell yourself,
Yeah.
this is you telling that story. There's 1,000 reasons why someone might be on the phone. They might be saying, this guy, Pete Holmes, there's no one else here at Brea, but this guy, This guy,
Plenty of seats available. You
but this
guys
guy's
can
the
come
best
meet me.
comedian I've ever seen.
I'm pretty sure they'll let you in just for free right now.
But Pete, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Or they're
Well, that's
checking on the
dropping the story.
babysitter, or they're
That's
waiting
dropping
for a
the story.
text from this girl they've been desperate to hear from.
That's right.
There's so many things.
Yeah.
That's
That's
you
right.
telling yourself the story, and also they might think you're shit, and you have to be cool with that too.
That's right. It's not your problem.
I know so many people who really, really, really don't like what we do, and at this point, it's like, okay, great. I thank you for.
Yeah.
I don't. That's okay.
Yeah.
Not everybody likes cornflakes.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
another thing to try and make some people's day nice, and you don't have to listen.
Right.
We're
Right.
just another entertainment form.
Can I ask you, let's take a line like, that's the weakness of your strength, right? I am not a songwriter, and I might hear something
That's
like,
not true, because I know that you wrote a song
oh my God, called phone calls at 2 a.m.
called Phone Calls at 2 a.m. by the band Nude.
Which you promised to play for us at the end of this.
I could play it. I don't remember all of it. I probably do. It's in my bones. A line like, it's the weakness of my strength. I feel like someone like, I say my mom, just because like a regular person, might go, that sounds like something you might put in a Coldplay song. I think that's not good. Tell me, is that good? Use that as an example for a little glimpse into songwriting. Could you use that's just the weakness of your strength as the closer of the chorus? Like it's the
Someone
punchline.
could.
Do
I
you
don't know
think
if I'm
you
good
could?
enough to do that, but like,
It would take. It's beyond your skill to heal.
it's funny. I had a dream the other night with Nick Cave was in it, and Russell Brand actually, who in the dream was a songwriter,
Okay.
and they said that, well, we have Poets Club, and I said, oh, can I be in Poets Club? This is a real dream, and Nick Cave is I love as a person on a deep, deep level, and Russell I've never met. But Nick I hold in on the highest level of poets, with Leonard Cohen and with Maya Angelou, with everybody, Rumi, Maya Angelou, all of them, Hafez, like.
So that's
So-
how you say it.
So, wait, you did a joke the other day where someone, this really made me laugh out loud, where you said, like, Bob, I hope I'm saying that right. I was like, that's good.
I love that.
Thank you. Preach.
Anyway, so those, or Bob Dylan, they could make that work.
It's
I don't know
just the weakness of your strength.
Strength.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's so
But
stylized.
they'd have to tell the
So-
story. They would tell a story.
Yeah.
They would go quite cryptic and then hit you with that at the end.
because it's a little too. It's pretty
that's straight.
That's
Straight.
so
So
you
they
can't
would
have
go
the whole
wonky
song.
before that.
Yeah.
Go wonky,
Like-
wonky, wonky, wonky.
yeah, like-
straight.
Dinosaurs on the donkey moon, or wherever they go.
Yes.
Yes.
Like
Dinosaurs on the donkey moon.
two tangerines in a
Two
giant balloon.
tangerines in a child's spoon.
It's happening. We're
Right.
making magic.
It's happening right now in front of you.
Craziness goes to any lengths. That's just the weakness.
of your
Oh
strength.
Right.
my gosh.
So that's what they would do, something like that.
Oh, it's
Wow.
Craziness. Craziness?
But a Coldplay song would be more like, I have a lot of weakness. It's too obvious. So
It's not very. It's not. We all live in a yellow submarine necessarily.
our songs are. It's hard for me to comment on our lyrics because they just come. But we're probably a bit like lower down the poetic scale.
Well, I heard you say.
We're on the. I think we're on the D list of.
I disagree. If D
Poetry.
stands for disagree, when I first met you, I was like, it must be weird that a lot of people you meet are repressing a comment like what I'm about to say, which is that "Fix You got me through my divorce." Like a lot of people want to say that. Like I went through a phase where I'd be in I was in a Mexican restaurant about to perform. That's where my career was. And Fix You came on the radio, and I was like, fuck off. Because it was one of those songs that just went straight to my heart.
Yeah.
And I heard you, and it still does. And I heard you say something about it, which was that it's not trying at all to be cool or ironic, or it's just going, and
Edgy.
it's not trying to be edgy.
I said this to my friend yesterday, that because one of the best things that ever happened to our band is that we've never been cool. Like yo-yos were in, and then hacky sacks were in, and then out, or Cabbage Patch Kids. Did you have that?
Yeah.
And our band has never been in, really. It's in with this group of people, but we've never been the hugest thing. at one time.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the fact that we're not cool.
That's what Jim
Except-
Gaffigan said to me
Posterity.
on this podcast. He goes, never get on the cover of Rolling Stone because then there's nowhere to go but down.
But also, Will, our same drummer, said to me, this is like 18 years ago, because I would show, 9 times out of 10, I'll get sent the skeleton of a song, and then I'll show it to them, and they decide if they want to build on it and make it a proper Coldplay song. And occasionally Will says, no, I don't want to do that one. And it started to become clear that the ones he would reject were the ones that were inauthentic.
Really?
And he said, as long as our band is always open-hearted, I'm in. Basically what he said. And at the time I didn't really understand, and now I feel like that was almost the guiding principle of what we do. Like, don't have any fear of what anyone's going to say.
Yeah.
Just be open, and that's it. That's the only rule. No fear of failure or rejection.
It's funny. That's what we were talking about with brokenness. One of my mantras for brokenness is, what use are you? Perfect. Like, what use are you not vulnerable?
Yeah.
What use are you not hurting? Like,
Yeah.
I always want to be over my pettiness or over my jealousy or over my whatever it might be. I'm like, then what use would you be? And the best episodes of this podcast and a lot of the best stand-up I do is from that deficit, and it resonates with people. And I'm not trying to say I'm like Coldplay. I'm just saying it's the same sort of, I'm Coldplay.
But I'll make you feel better about the Brea ticket situation, Pete, which is that song, Fix You, just didn't even chart.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was a total failure at the time.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Especially in America, yeah.
Oh my god.
What?
And at that time, I used to look at chart positions and stuff. So I was like, oh, fuck. It's over.
Did you expect it to be the single?
I think I knew when it was arriving that this is a song that some people might connect with. But
Yeah.
it didn't seem that way for a while after it came out.
Wow.
Speaking of arriving, how many rewrites are we doing? Is it really showing up, or is it something that you really have to trim and change? And
I think that a good song comes about 70% fully formed,
wow,
and then the 30% takes hours, and that it comes 70% fully formed in about 20 minutes, and then the other 30% takes about 6 months.
wow,
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you don't want to not do it justice.
Well, that was one of the. There were the years where Brian.
Oh, that's
knows-
Brian. Yeah. So if something is good, you must torture it mercilessly until it's either dead or great. That's rule number 9 or 10 or something.
It's
like
10. If something is good, you must
Yeah.
torture it mercilessly until it is either dead or great.
that. Yeah.
Wow.
I also love.
love that.
You shall welcome. Oh no, where's the one about letting
Oh,
people
you should welcome all forms of experimentation without feeling any
obligation to
to
use them?
use it.
That
So-
is it. That's the same in a writer's room making a comedy. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm glad you just did that whole thing, but I don't have to
Well,
use it.
because we're all sensitive, and so people, if there's a culture of fear or put downiness of like, why would anyone suggest an idea if they feel like the rest of the room is going to tell them it's shit, or they're going to laugh or ignore it or fuck off? You just stay quiet. So what Brian Eno noticed when he came to look after us in 2005, and we were a mess at this point. In all of the cliched band way, every band cliche was happening, and we got this building for ourselves to work in, which was the first step. And then we asked Brian if he knew anyone that would want to produce us, because we needed to kind of go back to square one. And he said, "Yeah, me, I'll do it," and which was a big deal. With another guy called Marcus, this German, brilliant guy who was more of the other side of production, which is like the whip cracking, let's play it again, fellas type
Yeah.
thing.
One more time, boys.
Yeah, and Brian's more the like, let's have complete abstract freedom. And what Brian noticed was that, partly because I didn't have any tools at that time, I was coming in and saying, this is the song, and Johnny and Guy and Will had very limited windows to try and fit themselves into it. There was no freedom to fail. So he got us to start doing this thing where if there's a new song idea, we will loop a section of it for an hour, and then the others and me too will just improvise over that and jam and see what comes up. And then one of my jobs is to then go through those and say to Johnny, for example, this bit sounds amazing and this bit sounds amazing, and then he starts to organize his part. So it brought this culture of freedom to experiment, even on a song that's going to be a Coldplay song. We now have total looseness, and which is so lovely.
Yeah, it's play.
That's great.
It's like me saying to you, okay, tell a joke about a chicken restaurant, but spend an hour on stage just trying anything.
Sure. You know, when you hear chicken restaurant, you kind of expect it to be run by chickens. Right. You know what I mean? You go there to eat chickens, but I kind of think there might be a chicken at the hostess desk.
I love that. So there we go. Let's put that in the opening.
But can we loop that?
But you know what, Chris? You're nailing it, because remember the other anxiety I have is that I haven't done an hour in a long time, and I'm doing it this weekend. And when I get stuck on thinking that I have to do Pete Holmes material rather than play, this is a shift. I say it all the time. I don't have to do an hour. I get to do as long as I want. It's about play. This is what Ram Dass said to me. He said, "Don't do comedy, be funny." It's like, become funniness. Like the way that
Ram Dass.
Yeah.
Cool.
The way that your drummer is a steady Freddy. You know, like has that stuff in his bones. Like I have to remember what Brian Eno and the band was all doing was that it's about play. And I'm preaching to myself right now, but when the fuck did comedy become something that I get stressed and worried about? Like, how dare you, I say to the malfunctioning part of my reptilian brain that's turning it into a threat. This is my joy. I'm supposed to go up and invite people to enjoy what I enjoy.
Yeah.
And I was on stage last night. See, I had a soft set last night because I hadn't performed in a while, because I like to go Little House on the Prairie and just stay home with my baby for a while. And I know I'm doomed when I get back on stage. And I was. And I went up and I made the mistake of thinking it was about the words. Imagine if you thought, well, tell me if you can relate. It's not about the chords and it's not about the lyrics. It's about...
No, it's a confidence.
Yeah.
And a connection.
That's
as long
it.
as the songs are okay.
The song should be okay.
Yeah.
Look, we could come at it from both ways. It is the words. But once you have the words, it's no longer about the words.
No, I think Brian helped us in tandem. Marcus at that time helped us just get better as players. And Brian helped us to just remember that it's a joy and a privilege. And we get to play music. We get to play whatever we like, whenever we like.
That's right.
With no Sharia law telling us we can't sing it, with no gender restriction telling us we can't sing because we're white men. You know, we're very, 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 very lucky.
Right. And people want to come and see it.
And at that time, we just lost all of that joy and gratitude. And he started us on that path of, which we're still really on. Because now, recently we've been working with Max Martin, who's equally brilliant to Brian Eno in a very different way. And that's been really joyful. And I can't believe I get to do this.
That seems like, at this stage in your career, what it has to be. It's about recapturing a first love or maintaining that.
I think it's about just deepening it.
Deepening it.
I think we love it and are grateful for it even more than at the beginning.
Wow. Just because.
And we have such freedom.
Yeah.
And as time has gone on, we've got the muscle of not really caring what anyone thinks is stronger, which just allows you to be. When you watch Eddie Murphy on Raw, there's part of me like, he doesn't even give a shit if what anyone thinks. He's just going. And
that's what's so fun,
Right, and that's why you're in it.
Yeah.
Or when Mick Jagger is performing, he doesn't care if you think this move looks stupid. He's just being Mick Jagger.
Right.
Fully.
Right.
And I feel like one of the privileges that we have being born when we are is that you can, if you want to, just decide to be fully yourself.
Yeah.
On stage or off stage.
I know. I think you're helping me come back to life a little bit, because I'm like, I needed this pep talk today. You know what I mean? Because I'm stuck in thinking it's about ticket sales.
It really isn't. Everyone that's supposed to be there will be there.
That's right. And they came to see me. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just...
You don't know.
Just don't know?
You don't know.
Yeah, keep the lights real low.
You just don't know what the reason is for you going through this right now, but there will be a reason.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, what else do we have, Mama? And then we'll ask our final question.
Well,
What do you want?
What time is it? Because I want to make
3:30.
Sure. Okay.
Is your baby okay?
Oh, yeah. She's great. Did you get any texts?
I did, but she said she's in a great mood.
Oh, good.
Just seemed sleepy.
Okay, great.
She threw up last night. Little Lee.
I'm sorry.
We co-sleep and she woke
Well,
up.
that's booze.
And
Yeah,
she had had a
she's a
lot
real
of baby
boozer.
booze.
Yeah.
She loves. She lactates Kahlua, so it's.
I was going to say, if you
Exactly,
drink,
yeah.
well, you're not still breastfeeding, are you?
No, and
Okay.
I don't drink really.
Yeah.
I wonder is that a thing?
It is a thing, absolutely, but it's also like it's just usually it's something that first time moms are really obsessed about,
Right.
and usually by their second they're like, I mean, my friend I have one friend who's like, this kid had like weed and antidepressants and alcohol all in his breast milk, and he's an angel. So I think
He seems fine. The kid's just scrawling red rum on the wall. He looks great. Chris, when you started Coldplay, this is kind of a manifesty question, like a Jim Carrey kind of question. Did you set out to make a good band, to like be a great band?
No, we just want it to be a really average.
No, I know, but
Hotel.
not a lot of people do that. Like, not every comedian goes like, I'm going to be the fucking shit. They go like, that looks good.
I mean, it's the
Free
kind of
chicken
question
wings.
Jim Carrey would ask or answer.
Jim Carrey would say, I wrote myself a check for $1 million when I was starting out, and I put it in my father's breast pocket at his funeral. And then like 10 years later, I had $1 million, like he post-dated it. And by that date, he had $1 million. So like, did you go, we're going for arenas? Like, fuck you. I'm not playing in the back of a Barnes and Noble. We're going for an arena.
Well, okay, I'll answer honestly. When I was 14, I was best friends with Phil, who's still our creative director, and
Phil
my
Collins?
best friend, Phil Collins.
I can't believe he has the time to do that.
Yep.
Wow.
It's like, I'm not busy with Genesis or my own stuff today, so I'll help you guys out. What do you need? A ballad? Okay, here's one called Fix It, whatever.
Take a look at me now. Take a look at me then. That's Phil Collins' memoir. Take
But we
a look at
were
me
in,
then.
that's a great title. But seriously, let's carry on. You missed that, Phil Collins. You
Very
did-
good. I was still working on your son's name is Moses, Genesis, something there.
Oh, yeah.
We'll work on it.
So what we're talking about, Phil, okay, so we were really into the Police and REM and U2, like big bands. And that's where we were like, well, that's what we'd like to do one day. Having zero idea, how to do it.
You were the guy going, I'd like to do that one day.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it.
But it just seemed we could have said the most, let's live on Jupiter. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yes.
There's just no feasible way that was ever going to happen.
Yeah.
But that was the distinct dream. And then to get to that has been all these mini dreams, if that makes sense. It's almost like we wrote $1 billion check, but then kept writing $2 checks and eventually realized, holy shit, we're sort of there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
So you have like the impossible dream and then the achievable one. And that kept climbing.
High five.
That's very
Yeah.
cool.
Karate kicks.
I love that.
Because it would be too overwhelming. I did a talk show. It wasn't a huge talk show, but if I had thought I'm going to do a talk show, that's insane.
Right.
But if you just kind of go like, I'm going to do well at this open mic,
Yeah.
that's the $2 check. And before you know it, circumstance happened that I got a talk show, and that was
Yeah,
incredible.
like, or in Crashing, the Pete in Crashing
Yeah.
wants to be a big comedian, but first you have to get this gig, and then you have to get the permission from that lady at the Comedy Store.
Exactly right. That's right. And a lot of musicians relate to that because it is these little battles. And then hopefully when you look up one day, you go like, oh, I've won a big battle.
Yeah.
But you never really saw it happen.
I really, really, really loved that Emo Phillips came onto that show
Oh, isn't he great?
because it also made me realize that once you've made it, you just have to keep being great. And it just made me happy that he's still great.
Yeah.
In fact, I laughed more than ever because when I first heard him in the 80s and 90s, I couldn't really, I was a kid, I couldn't really see past the delivery.
Yeah.
Whereas this time I was like, wow, those jokes are
Yeah.
like A grade.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. Edit
Yeah.
this out, but he would love to hear that. Make sure that's deleted.
But you know what I mean? Like they're almost like Catskills perfect
Yeah.
jokes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a lot of riffs about him that day. I forget. I don't know if it made the show, but I said it looks like he owns a swan, which made me really. It was really fun to riff with him about him. He had lines for him about him, which was really, really fun.
You can edit this out. Is he really that way in real life?
No,
Right, less so.
It's less.
I was
he's-
a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's a
exaggerated version.
I don't think we have to edit that out.
No, I think
you can hear podcasts and interviews where
You
he
can?
kind of
Okay.
goes
I don't want
into-
to blow his cover.
no, I don't.
It's like I was just talking about, Rancid, the band Rancid.
Yep.
How I did his radio show, and he doesn't really talk. You call it marble mouth, like the punk rock sort of like Sid Vicious. Like you're withdrawing from heroin as you're recording the song
Right.
kind of sound. And he doesn't talk like that all the time. But we want him to. And we want Emo to talk like that. It's okay. It's show business. Everything's show business. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the final. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to do the final.
What do you got?
I was going to say, should we do the greatest lessons?
Oh, yeah. I haven't done that in the longest time.
Yeah.
You can give a little quick answer. How do you feel? What's your face?
I feel good. I've got to go and be with my kids at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At round 4.
Yeah.
No, that's going to
let's do
happen
it.
right now. This is
This
we're done.
is the last.
We're done.
I think
just
I've sort of imparted everything I've ever read. I'm out of quotes.
we could ask just what's a great lesson you've learned about parenting? You're like
About parenting.
hang out with
Yeah.
them around full today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That all your aspirations to be the best parent ever, at some point you realize, nope, I failed as well. And then you just got to learn how to be cool with it. And that's the period I'm in right now. Of like,
my
you know what?
God.
All of my dreams of like, you know what? I'm going to redefine what it is to be a dad and a famous musician at the same time, and I'm going to prove that I can be done. Right now, I'm like, nope.
Wow.
I just did the best, and I just have to apologize for the things that I really got wrong.
Karate kicks. Love it.
That's it.
And that is the best.
And there's a strange liberation in going to my children are 17 and 15 saying, I'm really sorry, I've got some things wrong, and I love you. That's it.
Oh.
That's all we need.
That's
I
all
know
we
you know
need.
that as a child yourself. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
it's
about
beautiful.
fame? What's a great lesson you've learned about fame?
Fame is like smoke. It doesn't mean anything. It's a byproduct if you're lucky.
Yeah.
It's not something to be aimed for in and of itself.
Yeah.
It has some wonderful benefits, but I don't think it's worth attaining unless you love the thing that you're doing to attain it.
Yeah. Wow, I'm really glad we're doing this, Val.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also funny, the more famous you are, the more smoke you're around. Like on
Right.
stage, like
Oh,
wafting.
literally smoke.
Yeah.
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 Just like smoke machines.
Yeah.
Do you have a category?
Greatest lesson about creativity.
That it's not from you, it's through you. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Your job is just to get out of the way.
These are great
love
answers, Chris.
it.
And get out of the way by things like freeform writing, by being kind to yourself, by not looking at the chart positions all the time, or reading Twitter, or worrying about ticket sales. That's all stuff that blocks it.
Yeah.
Vincent van Gogh, or Van Gogh as you guys say, he wasn't worried about where's my picture in the painting charts this week.
Where's my ear? More like it.
It's over here.
It's over here, isn't it?
It's right here.
It's right here.
It's right here.
Sorry.
I'm
not
still caught
a
up with
comedian.
that you guys call him Van Gogh.
Yeah.
Vincent van Gogh.
Wow. Need
That's
it.
beautiful.
Well, some people would say Van Gogh.
But Van Gogh.
Yeah. But okay, Vincent van Gogh, because we're in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he just painted. Of course, he was a bit worried about finances and stuff. But you feel with the great people, Mozart, you just feel like the stream was coming through. And,
Yeah.
so whatever you can do to help get things out of the way. Rumi talks about a human is like a flute. We have 9 holes in our body. And God, or whatever you believe is the magic, is got to speak through you, whether you're a musician or a soldier or a nurse or a teacher. Teaching's the same. Like
Yeah.
if you're getting blocked about that, you could freeze up. And if you're just like letting it flow, then you can inspire so many people. Like we've all been inspired by certain teachers. That's my
Love
answer.
that.
I love that. Jeez Louise.
So
Last
good.
one, it would be show business, but the reason I'm asking is turning your craft into your job. What's a lesson you've learned about that?
To still play
Yeah.
even outside of that. So in England, there's an expression called a busman's holiday, which is when people who drove buses in cities would go on holiday, they'd go on a coach trip. So they'd be on another bus. So it's like do the same thing that you do as your hobby.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like it's like saying to Michael Phelps, okay, just go and splash
swim.
around a bit with this duck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And enjoy the water.
Yeah.
Then go and do another 10 hours laps.
Yeah.
That's that was on the new Ted Lasso, where he takes the struggling player back to like an old pitch, like an urban
He does.
pitch.
Is that in the new season?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the new
Spoiler.
season. I love that show.
Yeah, it's great. It's not really a plot point to ruin. It's just a fun moment. And here's the final question, Chris. Can you think of a time in your life where you laughed so hard you thought you might throw up or you were crying? What happened? Did someone fall? Did someone fart? Did someone shit themselves? Are you watching a movie? Are you on mushrooms on a rock?
Well, the punching Bugs Bunny thing really made me laugh out loud too.
Which one?
The one that you and Daniel
Oh my
from Kirk
God.
spoke about.
On Dan Van
About
Kirk.
like, I'm going to come down there and fuck up Bugs Bunny. That made me laugh. But yeah,
He'll be happy to know. Edit that.
no,
out.
that was a wonderful thing between you guys. Should do more stuff together.
He's great. Mark Wahlberg is Inigo Montoya.
That was amazing.
You killed my father.
Yeah, that was amazing. And the thing about the mafia just telling you what you've done that day.
Wait, I don't remember that.
Come in here. Just repeating everything you've done, like a sort of strange diary.
You come in here.
You put on those trousers. You wake up, you call your mother, you come here. You tell me what you have this
You
for
feel a
lunch.
little existential dread. And then you order the Kalama. Wow.
So the time I've
great.
laughed, it's not really specific a time, but if our bass player guy, who's very serious to the outward eye, if you look at our pictures, band pictures, you'd think like, God, 3 of those men never laugh in their life because they like to do pictures stone-faced for whatever reason. Guy doesn't really talk in interviews. He's the most amazing human, but he's shy in interviews. So if something makes him laugh, or we're doing liners or something like that, promo liners, especially if we're doing them together, and he makes me laugh, I can't control it. I can't control it, and it's awful. And then you know you can't control it, so then it gets even worse. The time I've most laughed is when one of the rest of the band was having some alcohol problems, and it's fine to talk about it now. And we were in Iceland, and he had been drinking all night, and we went to the airport to fly home, and it was around Christmas time, and he fell asleep in the lounge, and our tour manager came in and said, okay, we've got to get on the plane. So we had to wake him up, and he woke up, and he put his hand in his bag and took out some underpants and tried to put them on over his trousers because he thought he was getting out of bed. And then as he left, he picked up his suitcase and the Christmas tree and left the lounge.
God.
And that's the time I've laughed a lot.
Wow.
That's a
So he just
great
looks like
one.
Superman taking the
Yeah.
Christmas tree for some reason.
Just like, okay,
Okay,
I've got my pants on.
Christmas tree.
No, I'm talking underpants over his trousers.
Yeah, like Superman.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I'm dressed. I've got my case. I've got my Christmas tree. Let's fly home.
Oh, I love that one. That's a great one.
I love
That's
that.
my answer. Thank you both for coming
Thank
to
you,
talk to me.
Chris.
so much.
I loved it so much. Thank you for
Thank
being
you
so
for
gracious
giving us
as
so much
always.
of your time.
It's nice to. I just wanted to chat with you guys. I like talking to you the other day.
I loved it too, and I hope it didn't feel like an interview. I feel like we just hung out, and I feel fed, and I hope you feel fed.
I feel grateful to know you guys, and
Yeah.
thank you for coming.
Same. Would you say we have the
Thank you,
guests say
Katie.
the catchphrase? Yeah, thank you, Katie. Edit that out. Where we have the guests say, "You are giving me."
I meant to say, by the way, that we have a new song called Weirdo,
You do?
which has been waiting to come out for a long time because we're waiting. We're gonna. I can tell you this. Do a kind of musical, and this song's been waiting for that, and it just made me happy that you used that word because I don't know if anyone uses that word in America.
Weirdo.
Weirdo,
yeah.
yeah.
That's what we call our listeners. Is weirdo.
Yeah,
Weirdo.
and then when I was in Spain, falling in love with your podcast in Barcelona, it seems to me the most prolific graffiti artist is called Weirdo, and his name is written all across the city.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just want to think he's a fan.
And Weirdo is one of our best songs. It just hasn't come out yet.
Do you want to play it right now? I'm just
No.
kidding. You cannot premiere it on this show. You cannot. I'll sing it. Weirdo.
Okay, he has to go
Kind
get
of
his
it.
kids.
Would you say okay?
What's the tagline?
You say keep it crispy, and that's how we end.
Okay. Val, thank you for coming. Pete, thank you for coming. Katie, thank you for coming. Don't forget to keep it crispy.
Yeah,
Yes.
All right.
so good.
Thank you, guys.
So crispy. My ice game make you haters wanna get mad. Keep so crispy. crispy. I'm so crispy.